Okay, hello everyone. Good afternoon. Uh, Thank you for joining us for the second annual Black in Immuno Week, a week where we will be celebrating, amplifying, and supporting Black voices in immunology. Before we begin, we would like to thank our major sponsors, Immune Deficiency Foundation and Imperial College London. Please don't forget to tweet about our session today using the hashtag paths to immuno with each word capitalized for accessibility purposes. We will also have live captions and ASL interpreters during the sessions. Please don't forget to submit your questions through the comment function on the platform, not the Q&A. And as a reminder, we require that all audience members be polite and respectful while in the Black and Immuno space. If we see anything offensive, your comment will be deleted immediately and you'll be banned from the platform. After the conclusion of the week, recorded videos will be posted on our YouTube channel and transcripts will be made available on our website, blackandimmuno.org. My name is Kristen Carter. I'm a postdoc at Yale University, and I will be the moderator for the session today. Today, we'd like to welcome you to the session, Getting Started in Immunology, a session where community members can share their journeys into immunology, and you'll be hearing about the opportunities on entering the field from program managers at the NIH and NSF. So without further ado, we will start with our first panelist. We have Dr. Ryan Alexander, who will tell us about his journey into immunology through a pre-recorded video. Dr. Ryan Alexander is a postdoctoral research fellow at the Boston Children's Hospital. He works in the lab of Dr. Hilde Plouffe and is involved in cancer immunotherapy research. Dr. Alexander is an inaugural recipient of the Bristol Myers Squibb Cancer Research Institute Irvington Postdoctoral Fellowship to promote racial diversity.
Hi, my name is Ryan Alexander, and I'm a postdoctoral research fellow working at Boston Children's Hospital. I do cancer immunotherapy research in the lab of Dr. Hilde Plouffe. I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. I have two older siblings. My oldest sibling, my brother, went to medical school and is now a cardiologist. And I was interested in life sciences too growing up, but I ultimately gravitated toward basic research and got a PhD. So I did undergraduate research for most of the time I was an undergrad, and I worked in the lab of Dr. Harvey Lodish for 3.5 years. And in his lab, I studied the molecular determinants of adipocyte differentiation, or rather the differentiation of fat cells. If you do research as an undergraduate, I would suggest that you stay in the same lab for several years. That way you can get some good traction with the research you're doing and ideally get your name on some publications, and that will be seminal to your applications to grad school if that's the route you choose to go on. So for the next stage of my career, I did my PhD training at Harvard, and after I did a few rotations in different research labs, I ultimately chose the lab of Dr. Chihao Li at the Harvard School of Public Health to do my dissertation research. And in his lab, I started doing immunology research. Although my prior research training didn't have anything to do with immunology, I had an open mindset to trying different things in my research rotations, and just to see what had the most resonance with me. And I ultimately chose Chihao's lab. During my dissertation studies, I started by studying the roles of macrophages in inflammatory disease. And macrophages are innate immune cells that play roles in phagocytosis or cell eating. And they also play varied roles in tissue homeostasis and repair, as well as pathogen clearance. Unfortunately, during the second year of my PhD training, my sister was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that affected the rest of my PhD track. I was fortunate that my PhD advisor was open to me shifting my PhD studies a bit, and I started studying tumor immunology at that stage. So I started studying the roles of macrophages within the tumor microenvironment and how they affect tumor progression. At this point, this was the real spark for me, because I was able to do research that had a personal resonance for me, and I had a personal stake in the research I was doing. So I'm grateful that I was able to shift my thesis focus at that point. Fortunately, my sister has been in remission since, but it just has personal resonance for me to be able to be involved in this research. And just when I defended my thesis years later, when I saw my family and I presented the second part of my presentation about tumor immunology, just being able to see their faces, it was so fulfilling after what we've been through. But to expound a bit more on what I specifically did during my PhD training, I'll give you just a brief overview of tumor immunology. So the immune system plays a pretty extensive and complex role in managing tumor progression. Some immune populations are involved in tumoricidal roles, such as cytotoxic T cells often play roles in tumor immune rejection, whereas other immune populations can actually play tumor promoting roles. And often macrophages, among other myeloid cells, are actively recruited to tumors and are co-opted to play tumor promoting roles within the tumor microenvironment. So part of my thesis training was focused on understanding the signaling that occurs within the tumor microenvironment and how that skews macrophage function to play tumor promoting roles. So now in the role that I'm in now at in the lab of Dr. Hitaplu, I'm still focusing on the role of tumor-associated macrophages. Although now I'm looking at ways to genetically modify macrophages to resist cues within the tumor microenvironment that will make them play tumor promoting roles, but rather to make macrophages actively kill tumor cells. A lot of the immunotherapies that are based on modifying immune cells to kill cancer cells are focused on T cells because T cells natively play roles in eliminating tumor cells. However, the microenvironments of several types of solid tumors are refractory to T cell invasion and persistence within the tumor. So I thought of a different approach. Well, why don't we actively genetically modify macrophages, which are readily recruited to tumors and can more easily persist within them. So we can modify macrophages to play tumoricidal roles instead. So that's a large part of what I'm focusing on now, is finding genetic strategies to modify macrophages to kill cancer cells. To get to this point, I feel very grateful for the mentors and colleagues I've had. I'd be lying if I said I've never had biased or upsetting interactions at different stages of my career. But if I want you to take anything away from what I'm telling you right now, or when I focused on the people and the relationships that were positive, and the people who believed in me and who were invested in my development, rather than any kind of toxicity I encountered. And if you do that and you maintain a positive dialogue with yourself, I promise you that you will end up at the destination you're supposed to be at. The road you take to get there may not look like what you expect it to. It may seem impossible, but as long as you maintain that relationship with yourself and you keep in mind the people in your life and the situations in your life that are positive and that matter, and you look past the toxicity and you keep your eyes ahead, I promise you're going to end up exactly where you need to be. So with that, I'm going to say good luck. I believe in you, and I'm really excited to see the next generation of scientists coming up. So I'm excited to see what you got. Hi.
Thank you, Dr. Alexander, for sharing your story with us and reminding us that a personal connection can definitely propel you forward in those trying times that we all know as researchers. Next up, we will have Dr. Shayla Shorter, who would tell us about her journey into immunology. On to you, Dr. Shorter.
Hi, everyone. I would say good afternoon, but I'm not sure where everyone is. But hi, my name is Dr. Shayla Shorter. I am currently a special assistant professor of biology at Hofstra University, and I'm an immunologist. And today, I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my experience in getting into immunology. I think um, there were several things that Dr. Alexander said that really resonated, and things that I will also reinforce. So, what I'll say is, just as a preliminary background. So I went to school. I was born and raised in New York. And I went to college at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. There, I was part of the Meyerhoff Scholars Program, which was a program that is for students who intend to pursue a PhD or MD PhD in the STEM fields. And that program was extremely influential in my decision to not only major in science, but also to stay in science. And part of what I learned in that program was that a support system is extremely important to your success in science. In that program, I made friends that um, I studied with, that I worked with, that helped to encourage me when I felt down or felt discouraged about, bad test grades or a bad score in anything really. And they really helped to surround me with what I needed to stay on the track of pursuing my biology degree at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. From there, I went on to do my PhD in immunology in Atlanta at Emory University, and there I studied uh, mostly a combination of things. So I first studied how the immune system responds to viruses when they mutate, which interestingly has become a very hot topic because of COVID. And so there I was studying the changes that happen in T cells, which are immune cells that are really important for fighting viruses. I studied the changes in signaling. That they undergo when they encounter a virus that has mutated from its original form. So when we think about COVID right now, we're hearing a lot about all these variants like Delta variants and that sort of thing. So I was interested in studying what does the immune system do when it sees a virus that's slightly different than the original virus that it saw. And so that was what I focused my PhD on. And then after that, I did what's called a postdoctoral fellowship, which is extra training that you do after you finish your PhD. And for my postdoctoral fellowship, I focused on studying another type of immune cell, which is called a B cell. And I was studying how that B cell contributes to the development of an illness known as lupus. Um, and so I'll pause right here and say and underscore something that Dr. Alexander said. Sometimes people get into science because they just have like an innate love of just the science. You just like learning, and you just enjoy that pursuit and that inquiry, which is very true of myself and many other people that you meet who are in science or medicine. And then there are other people who may have like a personal tie. So Dr. Alexander talked about how his sister had cancer, and that contributed to what he ended up doing in his graduate degree program. Well, I was diagnosed with lupus when I was just 8 years old. And even though I told you this whole story about going through school, really what the foundation of my uh, interest in science was my own diagnosis and my own I guess I was trying to understand my own immune system and why it wasn't working. So, lupus is an autoimmune disease, which basically means a disease where the immune system fights against itself. It has trouble telling the difference between what is foreign and what doesn't belong in the body, like the virus or bacteria, and then what belongs in the body, like your heart or your kidney or your lungs, right? And so you can imagine that not being able to tell the difference results in your immune system causing a lot of problems when it can't, it decides to fight the wrong thing. So, what I will say, if I could give any advice to a high school student or an undergraduate student that is interested in immunology or any other type of field, what I'd say to you is think about the problem in the world that you want to solve. Um, I'm an assistant professor and I teach students all the time. And when I ask them about what they want to do, they usually just tell me what career they want to do. They want to be a doctor. They want to be a lawyer. They want to be those things. But my question to you is, I want to know more about the problem that you want to solve because that'll give you much more insight into finding a career path that is fulfilling to you than just picking a career path, right? And so I will say focus on what problem you would want to solve in the world, and think about the type of lifestyle that you want to live, because depending on whether you like to have long days, or just like a 9 to 5, or if you want to be around lots of people all day, or if you like kind of working more or less by yourself or on your own schedule, all of these preferences will play into what career path you decide to choose. And in the arena of immunology, there are so many different uh, careers you can choose, but first think about what you want to do. The second thing I'll say is, even though I had this personal experience with having an autoimmune disease and I felt that I knew pretty early what I wanted to do, it's totally fine if you don't know exactly what you want to do right now. It's fine. Actually, even if you are in your career, it's totally fine if you decide you want to change your mind. I think that's something that I learned very late in the game. And sometimes it's seen as a sign of failure if you change your mind, but it really isn't. Why? Because it's the combination of your life experiences that help you to find the thing that you're most passionate about. So if you're passionate about something right now, cultivate that and nurture it. But if something killing yourself because you didn't stick to the original plan, it's totally fine to change your mind. I'll also say that when it comes to integrating your passion for science, or in this case, immunology, think about the communities that you want to serve. I think it's really important, particularly as people from underrepresented groups in science, to think about how to give back to other people. I can say that my success in science could not have been possible without peers and mentors that played a huge role in just encouraging me, giving me advice, and helping me to take the next step of my journey. So find good friends, find great mentors. As Dr. Alexander said, continue to believe in yourself, tap into that part of you that believes that you can do something. And even if the path is hard, even if it doesn't look like what you thought it would look like, trust me, if you want to get it done, if you want to succeed, you can make it happen. Absolutely. Um, I think I'll pause right there and answer any questions if anyone has any. But to anyone who's listening, I believe in you. You can do it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Shorter, for sharing your story and lupus diagnosis. Your transparency regarding finding your passion, and knowing that if it changes, like, it's okay, it's not the end of the world, is such a nice thing to hear, even like to me. So at this point, we don't have any questions in the chat just yet, but we'll have some at the end. So I think we'll move on to Dr. Erika Barr from the NIH. She will tell us about opportunities through the NIH for high schools and undergraduate students on how to get involved in immunology. So over to you, Dr. Barr.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. I just want to thank the Blacks in Immuno for inviting me to be a part of this event. I am going to, just before I jump into my presentation, I just want to share just a little bit about myself. I am Erika Barr. I am from North Carolina. I went to North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, which is known as North Carolina A&T. It's a HBCU, a historically Black college university in North Carolina, and I majored in biology. And from there, I went to Clark Atlanta University. I got a master's in biology. However, my connection to immunology is that my dissertation research looked at the effects of estrogen on T cell response during genital chlamydia infection. And from there, I went on and did a postdoc at the Medical Research Council, which is in the Gambia, which is West Africa. And I looked at the efficacy of various vaccine antigens, that various vaccine candidates for trachoma there. And then from there, I went to, came to the NIH as a postdoc as well. So I am currently not a researcher. I transitioned from research, although I definitely have a love for research. But I think, as Dr. Shorter just mentioned, at any moment in time during your educational career, we all have these moments of trying to figure out, okay, what do I want for my personal journey? What do I want for my life? What am I passionate about? And so, as a result, what I decided to do was transition from conducting research to more of science education and administration. And so now I am currently a program director in the Office of Intramural Training and Education at the National Institutes of Health. So I'm going to kind of come from a different point of view in terms of talking to you about various opportunities at the NIH. Since this is in Blacks in Immuno, I will kind of sort of touch a little bit about immunology throughout, but I will definitely talk to you about the various opportunities at NIH. So I'm going to share my screen. I have to pull up my application. So here. So for those of you who are unaware, the NIH is the largest federal agency that conducts and supports biomedical research. We have two components. One component being the extramural, our extramural component, which we actually fund research from across the nation. But we also have an intramural component, which means we fund our own research. And so our main campus is in Bethesda, Maryland, but we have other campuses throughout the US, mainly North Carolina, but we have a campus in Arizona as well as in Montana. We are composed of 27 different institutes and centers. I promise you I'm not going to go through all of the acronyms, but some of the more popular ones, of course, right now, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, is NIAID, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, where Dr. Fauci serves as director. We also have the National Cancer Institute, which is one of our larger institutes. We have the NIH Clinical Center, which is the largest research-based hospital in the world. all of the patients that are seen at the clinical center are a part of some sort of protocol. And so we have a number of different institutes. And so that means that we have a plethora of research that's taking place. And that research can range from basic research to more clinical research to more, I would say, computer science, bioengineering. And so whenever you think about, of course, immunology, you're like, well, where are the immunology projects? The immunology projects can actually be in any of the 27 different institutes. We have principal investigators that have a lot of different interests. And so immunology is one of those subjects or topics that can be applied to any type of model, disease model, and things of that nature. So if you have an interest in entering into immunology, I would definitely, I'll talk to you a little bit about ways to kind of really search for principal investigators who are working on projects in various areas of immunology. So we have a number of training opportunities in our intramural research program, and that ranges from the summer internship program to the postback programs, graduate programs, as well as postdoctoral and clinical research programs or medical programs. What do we have to offer you? Definitely outstanding resources, access to outstanding mentors. We have 27 different institutes, and all of those institutes have their own specialty areas. So they all have a number of science seminars and workshops throughout. Also, we have leadership and personal development opportunities as well. A lot of times when people think of coming to the NIH, they just think basically, okay, I'm going to just be conducting research all the time. I'm going to be with my research group or with the research lab 24/7, and that's really not the case. We do take a holistic approach to your training at the NIH. And so for an example, so in our office, we want to make sure that all trainees who come to the NIH, whether it be for the summer, whether it be for a postback or postdoc or anything outside of that, we want to make sure that you are not only developing scientifically, but you're also preparing yourself for the future in terms of career, professional, and personal development. So at the NIH, we have a number of workshops. We have a full curriculum for summer interns and postbacks. And as you can see, these are a number of things that take place. I'm not going to go into a lot of the detail, but just know that whenever you come, we want to make sure that you're laying a really, really good foundation for yourself to kind of build upon whenever you leave. And so we have a number of things, especially if you are thinking about medical school or graduate school. And as the other speakers mentioned, there's a lot of the way that you're able to kind of determine what you want is really a lot of times exposure to various resources as well as mentors. So we have a career services center to help you with networking, mock interviews, to go over your CV and things of that nature. We have a huge wellness program. This day and time, mental health is very important. And I think a lot of times as scientists, it's kind of overlooked, right? And so we want to make sure whenever you come to the NIH that you're also developing personally and taking care of your own wellness. So we have a number of programs that's around mental well-being. So just to kind of get into the programs, I'm going to talk a little bit about the summer internship program, the undergraduate scholarship program, as well as our postback program. And this is a great time right now because our summer internship applications actually just opened. Our summer internships are full-time, 8 to 10 weeks. They are paid opportunities. You are paid according to your educational level. You may actually have an internship opportunity at any of our NIH campuses. The main requirements is that you be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, as well as just show a genuine interest. You can be a genuine interest in conducting research. You can be at any level in your educational career. from community college, from either high school if you're in the area, and community college up to professional school. The application is open now and it closes March 1st. The way that you are selected is there's not a centralized selection process. Once you submit your applications, you're able to contact individual principal investigators in regards to your interest. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that later. We do, in addition to our NIH-wide summer internship program, we do also have a number of sub-programs. And the goal of these sub-programs is to make sure that, or to ensure that all of our summer interns are very diverse. They come from various diverse backgrounds. A lot of summer interns are coming from disadvantaged backgrounds. Some summer interns, this is their very first research experience. A lot of times students think that in order to come to the NIH and conduct research, you will have to already have research experience. But we have a number, these programs really provides an opportunity for students who may not have any research experience to come. And so if you are interested in any of these sub-programs, I encourage you to visit our website to read about them. The application is also open to these programs. The advantages of being a part of a sub-program is that you are a part of a cohort, and the applications are centrally reviewed as well. Another program we have is the Undergraduate Scholarship program. So if you are in undergrad right now, and it would be great if you had some additional funding to maybe whatever you have already. The NIH, we will provide, through the UGSP, we will provide up to $20,000 towards your tuition and fees. You must be a permanent resident, have a 3.3 GPA or above, and to show some sort of financial need that is determined by your financial aid office. As a UGSP scholar, not only are you receiving funding, but you also are obligated really during the summer to come to the NIH and work full-time as a summer intern. You can renew this scholarship up to 5 years. Once you graduate, you will owe NIH a payback. So for each academic year that you were funded, you come to the NIH and work. And you can do that as a postback or a postdoc or clinical fellow. This application will open in January and close in March. Those of you who are juniors and seniors in undergrad, and you are going through a moment of, I have no idea what I want to do when I graduate, but I want to be productive and I want to kind of think about my next stages. You may want to really consider coming to the NIH as a postback. Postback is 1 to 2 years. You're conducting full-time research. You're paid. You have access to all of the resources that I just mentioned. It is rolling admission. So if you are interested in coming and you are graduating in May, you really want to start the application process around January. And from there, you are able to kind of reach out to investigators to really kind of do some searches on who you would be interested in working with. And so there's no deadline for the application. Again, it's online and it's ongoing. And so you may apply at any moment. Let's see here. So this is just a little review of some of the things I just mentioned. For all of our programs, the application is online. We have the various dates for the SIP. Like I said, the summer internship is open now, closes in March. The summer sub-programs, if you're interested in sub-program, you really want to consider maybe applying starting now, because a lot of them, the deadlines are January. So if you, for an example, I am the director of the community college program as well as CSOR, which is for undergraduate students who haven't really had an opportunity to conduct full-time research. And so you want to make sure that you look at our website. And the application is pretty straightforward. It includes all of the different sections that most applications do, but you want to make sure that you go visit our website. We have a YouTube channel to talk to you about all of the programs, give you some insight on how to have a successful application. Also, we have a video on how do you find principal investigators in labs of interest? You're interested in immunology and things of that nature, or any other areas, there's an opportunity for you to kind of look at our YouTube channel to actually aid you through that process. What I would say now is, if you are interested, to start preparing your application to submit early. The main thing that a lot of people are not unaware of is that once you submit your application, you must seek out these principal investigators, email them, letting them know that you're interested. From there, they will actually look up your application in the database and follow up with you if they are interested, or if they would like to learn a little bit more information. Sometimes they may have spaces, and sometimes they may not, but you want to go ahead and start that process really early. For an example, if you're interested in coming during the summer, if you don't apply to a summer sub program, then you want to make sure that if you are applying to the general summer internship program, although the deadline is March 1st, a lot of the spaces are already taken up by February. So you want to start now. And these are just some other things of making sure that you just, start early, reach out to investigators, and things of that nature. Those of you who are interested in graduate partnerships program and you're thinking about graduate school, this is a program that allows you to conduct your research at the NIH, but to actually go to a university to conduct your dissertation research. And with that, I think that will be all. These are some important websites, and I'll make sure that you have my personal email address as well if you'd like to contact me. And I think that's it. Hopefully I stayed within my time.
Yes, fantastic, Dr. Barr. Thank you so much for reminding us that exposure is key when deciding which path is right for us. And also for showing us the resources and programs available at the NIH. Just a quick reminder to everyone that the slides presented will be available in the recorded sessions posted on the YouTube channel at the end of the week. And we do have a question for you, Dr. Barr.
Yes.
Would you be able to describe the trachoma study done at MRC Gambia?
So it was the trachoma study done at MRC Gambia? Yes, it was done in the Gambia. I worked with a team that was actually from the UK. And what we did was, there were a number of vaccine candidates, and what we did was looked at the efficacy of those candidates towards looking at the immune responses that they would cause. And so I was there for about 8 months. So I worked with the group there from the University of Tropical Disease and Health in the UK. Really good experience. And what I would say to that really is to always remain open, number one, to the various experiences. A lot of times we deal with imposter syndromes, and we don't want to step out of our box and experience different things and different cultures, or working with different people. And so what I say is to always remain open to those experiences. And the reason why I was able to go, because I met someone at a conference, and we were just having a conversation. They asked me what I was interested in. And so always be open to having a conversation, having your elevator speech ready, because you never know who you are going to cross paths with. And so, you want to always make sure that you're ready when that opportunity presents itself.
Fantastic answer, very elegantly put. Thank you, Dr. Barr. Next, we will have Dr. Sally O'Connell from the NSF that will tell us about opportunities through the NSF for high school and undergraduate students on how to get involved in immunology. So over to you, Dr. O'Connell. We're having a few technical issues, so just bear with us, please. Thank you. Okay, while we're waiting, I think we'll start with a couple questions for Dr. Barr and Dr. Shorter.
Kristen, I saw a comment and I saw from Glenn, and so I want to say Aggie Pride because he said go Aggie. So
Oh, sorry, I should have
I'm
mentioned.
sorry. Wherever we go, we have to show, the Aggie
Agreed,
Pride. So.
agreed. My sister's actually an NCAT&T alum as well, so I was like, go Aggies! But
yeah,
I'm not an alum, so I can't really say it, but
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Fantastic. Could both of you sort of talk about the best way to contact people in the field regarding opportunities? So Dr. Barr, you mentioned that you met someone at a conference. Dr. Shorter, do you have any advice on is it maybe LinkedIn or conference chat or a cold, email? What do you guys recommend?
That's a great question. I think, nowadays it's very accessible to contact people through social media, for instance. So for students who, I don't know, high school students if they're on Twitter, I'm sure they're on like TikTok.
Probably. The youth, they love Twitter.
But I'm not a big social media person, but I think what I've learned is that you can use it for entertainment or you can use it for professional networking. And so I think from the perspective of networking, social media can be a great opportunity. The other thing I tell all of my students, like I give them an assignment to contact someone who's doing the thing that you want to do. And so that can be through email, that could be through social media, however you can find someone, find someone and then figure out how to get in contact with them. And I will say to any undergrad or high school student, don't feel offended if they don't respond to you right away. Don't take it personal. Coming from somebody who's still trying to get through my email box sometimes. It's not personal. So just keep trying because persistence will be rewarded.
Dr. Shorter, I just want to say thank you so much for encouraging your students to do that, because it really does benefit them whenever it comes to, for an example, if they are interested in coming to the NIH and they are having to reach out to investigators. We have an entire search engine on the NIH website. And so for them being able to have that confidence of, I have to email this investigator, introduce myself, let them know what my ear about possible opportunities in probably like a very short, simple email. I think that's extraordinary. So thank you for, encouraging that. And that helps a lot get across that fear of, reaching out to investigators, whether it be via email, whether it be LinkedIn, but making sure, I would say it's very important to maintain that professionalism, because in this time of social media and texting and all of that, I think we have to keep in mind that, okay, know your audience, So.
Absolutely.
Yes, both really wonderful, important points. So we actually have Dr. O'Connor ready, and we'll after her presentation, we'll come back and do more Q&A. So thank you both, Dr. Barr and Dr. Shorter. Hi, Dr. O'Connor.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So you can see my slides?
We can see your
can't
slides, but we can't see you. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Great. Okay, so let me start. Do you want me to start?
Camera on, or is it not working?
I shared my screen. It's on presentation mode.
Is the video on Hopin?
The camera is not working for some reason. We tried for about.
Oh, okay, that's okay. Yeah, over to you for your presentation. Thank you.
Go ahead, start. Okay, I'll hang up my phone now. Okay, well, thank you very much for this opportunity. I truly appreciate it. I'm Sally O'Connor. I work at the National Science Foundation in the Directorate for Biological Sciences, Division of Biological Infrastructure. And I'm primarily one of the two permanent people in human resources. So I've been at the NSF since 2002. And so I am familiar with a lot of programs. And I have my contact information on my last slide, so you can email me for any questions at all. The National Science Foundation, NSF, supports basic research, the acquisition and development of instrumentation and other infrastructure, and development of human resources. It supports STEM disciplines, including education and research. So the human resources component of NSF's mission is what I'm going to talk about today. So this slide is sort of busy, but on the top green banner, you'll see the progression from undergraduate to graduate to postdoc to academic faculty. But on the right-hand side, academic faculty is not the only choice for your career. In addition to academia, you have government, private sector, and other like policy fields that you can work in. So I have a slide on, if I begin again on the left-hand side, I have a slide on undergraduate students. There are two programs which should cover anyone in the audience. REU, which is Research Experiences for Undergraduates. And we have a brand new program called Research Experience for Post-Baccalaureate Students, REPS. And I have a slide for those. I'll wait until I do that. Now, if there's a high school student that you know of or is in the audience, we have a program called Research Assistantship for High School Students, which I put in red. It's called RAHES. And this program allows you to work with any faculty. We provide a stipend to you for doing a research project, and you can take that research project and present it in a college fair, in a science fair. The next one in the banner is graduate students. I have a slide on our fellowship program, GRFP. The next one is postdoc. And we have fellowships that will support postdocs. And then finally, academic faculty. We have grants to support the research, equipment, the training and education if you're faculty. So this, I just want to show you the progression. If you're interested in academia or a government position or the private sector, and you want to enter those careers at the highest level, meaning with a PhD, you might want to follow undergrad, graduate, postdoc, and then your job. So the next slide here is undergraduate student. We have two programs. REU, Research Experience for Undergraduates. I'll do that first. It's a summer program for undergrads interested in conducting research in any field supported by NSF. You must be a U.S. citizen, national, or permanent resident to participate. You receive a stipend of approximately $6,000, a little bit more this coming summer, for a 10-week program, travel to and from the program site, meals, lodging, and even support for presenting your work at a conference. The deadlines are typically January to March. I recommend that you apply as early as possible. And if you miss the deadline, go ahead and email me and I'll see if there's a position still available, and I can see if I can provide additional funding to the PI to let you in. The second program, which I mentioned is new, is REPS, Research Experience for Post-Baccalaureate Students. We know we're in a pandemic. A lot of students missed opportunities to do research, an independent project for themselves. And so we have this new program called REPS. You can do this in your gap year, or if you're not sure just what is your next step after you get your undergraduate degree. This will allow you to become more competitive for graduate school or even for employment. If you want to stop at the baccalaureate level, but you want a little bit more experience in running instrumentation, in carrying out projects, REPS is the program for you. Again, you must be a U.S. citizen or national or permanent residence. You must have gotten your the graduate degree. The stipend is $650 per week, and you can ask for up to 12 months of support. travel to a conference, and research expenses are also covered. The good thing about this is that there's no deadline. And if you're unsure how to get a rep's experience, just email me and I can help you and walk you through the process. You must first identify where you want to go, and then from there we can do a three-way with your host lab to make sure that they know that you will be supported by NSF and be using the project in that lab. This is an excellent program if you're not sure where to go next after your undergraduate degree. Once you're a graduate student or towards the end of your undergraduate career, you can apply for Graduate Research Fellowship Program, GRFP. This is very competitive, very prestigious, and you apply either as a senior about to graduate or as a first-year graduate student. The stipend is $34,000 per year for 3 years, which you can spread over 5 years, and the deadlines are typically in October, and the exact date depends on the discipline. If you're a postdoc or if you finished your graduate study or about to finish your graduate study, please note that Bio Directorate supports postdoctoral fellowships. All the other disciplines at NSF have some form of postdoctoral support as well. So these are fellowships, so you're independent, and there are 4 tracks in biology. Broadening participation is a track where you can apply regardless of the topic of your research. Biological collections obviously has to do with museum collections. Rules of life have to do with rules of life, and the plant genome has to do with genomics. So if your topic is not collections, rules of life, or plant genome, then apply to the broadening participation. By the way, the funding rate here is upwards of 35%, closer to 50%. So it's a really good program. The support is $54,000 per year, plus an additional $15,000 to you, so you can purchase your health insurance premiums, pay for them, maybe use some of that money for travel. That's $15,000 is yours in addition to the $54,000 per year. The deadline is typically November, but check the solicitation because sometimes they change. So the bulk of the rest of my presentation deals with how to apply for an RE site. We received upwards of 30,000 applications across 120 programs. It's very, very competitive. It's more competitive than entering a medical curriculum. So why do you want to apply for an RE program? First, RE is typically short. They're in the summer, 10 weeks. They're focused on research and developing your professional skills during that time. And the good thing is it's all over the US and abroad. It's a great way to experience a setting outside of the classroom where it will enhance your professional skills. You learn skills in computation, lab, and field. You gain a deeper knowledge of a scientific topic. You gain valuable skills in communicating science because part of the program is presenting the results of your summer REU. You build close relationships with mentors and other students, and you need the recommendation of mentors. So this is a good way to really get the mentor to know who you are. You learn ethics and responsible conduct of research. You focus on your career. You create your own individual development plan that will tell you what are the steps that you need to make in order to achieve your dream. Build up your resume for competitive fellowships and scholarships. You can, a lot of the students have presented and published their work. In addition to all of that, you get paid Travel to and from lab is covered. Housing and meals are covered as well. So how to apply? Again, as I mentioned, there's 35,000 applications collected by about 120 RE sites. It's very competitive, but if you email me and you really want to enter a program that is spot on your interest, just email me and I'll help you try to get into the program. So you can either go to this URL, or the way I got this URL is just I Googled search REU, which is probably easier. Just put search REU in the field for Google. The first link will be this, and when you get to that link, you can search the programs of your interest using keywords, discipline, or location. You can review the projects posted in that specific RU program that you're interested in. You apply online. There is no fee for application. There is a deadline, so you need to be careful about when you need to finish your application. If the RU is listed under biological sciences, let me know if I can help you, because I've done that in the past with many students. Email the program director directly and introduce yourself so that the program director will have more interest in considering you. Again, if a site is getting, let's say UC Berkeley is getting 500 applications and you're one out of the 500, you can differentiate yourself from all the other applications by emailing the program director, letting them know who you are and what you're interested in. So when you do the search, this is what you will see. And you can see the list of all the disciplines. Biological sciences is the third one in the list. Or you can go down to the page here where you can just type in any word, say immunology or microbiology or molecular biology, any topic that you want. And the sites that offer projects in those areas will show up as a list. And this is how it will list the programs. Anything you see in blue, so if I click the one on the left, University of Idaho in blue, it will get me to the URL of the University of Idaho RU site. And it will have all the information, who the program director is, who are the mentors, what projects they have. And remember, you choose the project and you choose the location. And so you have control over what you will be doing in the summer. An abstract on the right-hand side will tell you very briefly what the major topic is for that program. And I believe that's it. So just email me if you have any questions, or I can answer it now. It's soconnor@nsf.gov. And again, thank you so much. And thanks to Immuno, Black in Immuno, which I learned more about this morning, and I really applaud the organizers. I applaud the founders. It's a great organization that people should belong to. And that's the end of my presentations. I think I'm gonna unshare.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. O'Connor, for providing such a detailed discussion of the various programs available to people in various stages of their careers, and for extending yourself, via email to help people create successful applications. Just another reminder, the slides that were shared will be available in the recorded session at the end of the week on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
So just one more question for all of our panelists. So let's say you attend a university or institute that doesn't offer, an immunology course within the curriculum. How do you recommend getting immunology exposure? Whoever wants to go.
Not all at once. You can go ahead.
You can raise your hand or just talk. It's okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. I think it depends on what level you are, but I am a big advocate of just the amount of information that you can just find online, right? So there are platforms like think of like Coursera and edX that have like formal courses in immunology that you can take. And sometimes they'll have like promotions where you can take a free class. The other thing is just on YouTube, there are like a myriad of videos about any topic really. And I tell my own students, you know, I might lecture and you may be confused, but hey, go on YouTube and you'll find someone explaining the same exact topic in 50 million different ways. And so you can get an education from Khan Academy on YouTube. And so I'm an advocate for just using the World Wide Web for that.
Yeah, I would just echo what Dr. Shorter said. I mean, really, with the amount of information that's available to us these days, you know, you can definitely go online and I would just say it's always going back to reading. You know, go and look up. There are various journals in immunology. I think Infection and Immunity is one. There are a number of journals, and just, you know, reading a lot of about the different studies that's ongoing. Although you may not know all of the terms and be familiar with everything, but just exposing yourself to that is very important. So yeah, definitely going and looking at journals and reading articles.
I think what I would also add, those are really great suggestions, especially all the freebies that you see online, YouTube, and so on. But I also would like to add, if you don't know anything about immunology, don't be afraid to enter a program, a research program, and just try it, because you will learn it. You know, you have to remember, people in immunology who are tops in the field entered that field not knowing immunology. They were just interested in it. So don't be afraid to just apply to a program, because you will learn it.
Fantastic. Thank you to all of the speakers today for sharing your wealth of knowledge. I hope all the attendees were able to take something away, regardless of their current stage in their career. So we'll just wrap up here. We'd like to thank the Black in Immunology team. This was, really a fantastic talk, and thank you all again for your time. So we will see you tomorrow with the Careers in Immunology panel moderated by yours truly. And enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you all.
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you
very much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Nice seeing everyone. So you can
Thank
see
you.
me.
Oh, don't be sorry. It's great to hear you.